So, it's been a while. Um, let's try that again. Hi. Sorry, I haven't lived up to my expectations of putting up something every week. But it's been quite uh, difficult lately in regards to recording and editing, because every time I record something, by the time I get around to editing, I'm in a completely different frame set, completely different state of mind. Um, and the technical word for this is manic. Been a little bit manic lately. Yeah, not fun, but also fun. Not enjoyable, but also enjoyable. Uh, Being manic is a bit of everything, really. Ups, down, left, right. I have been able to end up back in the center though, so still winning in that regards. Um, yeah. Uh, Look, obviously, going through the mourning process, you know, um, the loss of a friend is never easy. I've never gone through the mourning process sober before. That's a whole nother level of intensity. Not even having one beer or anything. Um, Intense but good. Uh, Really, I let it hit me hard, and I mean, the mourning process will always be in a cycle, be going around again, and it'll come around again, I'm sure. Um, but I must say, I feel like I've processed a lot of that grief. We'll see what happens next time. Yeah, so this has kicked off some old voices from my younger days, and some old personalities that are stuck somewhere in the deep recesses of my mind or imagination. Um, they're not happy. They're not happy with him. They're not happy with me. And one in particular is pretty aggressively pissed off in the back of my mind, the fact that we weren't there for our friend, and that we're on the other side of the world, and what the fuck are we doing here, and why are we here, and this is all your fault, even though it's me, but it's complicated. So even during things that have been good, uh, in regards to getting back into work and starting routines, and started meditating, and I am achieving at work, and I'm going outside, and I'm not really being social, but I'm being in society a little bit. Coming back from the holiday and all that scenario, dealing with trying to find my rhythm again. Um, and even during these the good things, there's still a negative Nancy in the corner of my mind that just wants to burn everything to the ground. But the thing about being manic is that it's very difficult to notice manic behavior coming, or a manic mindset coming, and it's even harder to see it while it's happening. So you can only really see it in hindsight, and then try to stop it, and try to be more aware and calculate more, which obviously takes more concentration and more effort and more energy, affecting your freedom to do things. Something that probably isn't helping the manic state is trying to create new routines whilst working full-time job, and which basically means that you have to be in different mindsets to do things, you know. For me to get up and out of bed and do my exercises, you know, and sit down and actually do my meditation creates me to get myself into a certain mindset to do that. And then to do my morning study or research in regards to projects that I want to do before going to work. That creates a mindset to get myself out the door on the bicycle, riding to work, and not let the fact that everywhere I go, people are trying to kill me with their cars, to not affect me. And then to be at work, you know, for 8 hours, and to be extremely focused and extremely controlled of my mood, or attempt to be completely controlled of my state, because they keep making me into a manager position, which I've given until the end of the month. Okay, I'll do it, and then that's it. Really, that's not acceptable anymore, but I realize that it's needed. It's crazy. Startups are crazy. And then coming home and being so physically and mentally exhausted and in physical pain and in mental conflict just leads me to just switch off and sit on the couch and watch stuff and not do my evening exercises, and avoid my evening meditation, and to avoid my evening study, which then, you know, is like fail, alarms start going off, and you try to ignore it even more. And yeah, but there's been some big wins in the last few weeks. Basically, I'm ending my psychology in May, and at the end of April, I will have no more appointments with my psychologist. For a schizophrenic to not have any appointment with a psychologist is pretty big news, I would have to say. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that now, because it's a thing, you know. The last session was a very long session in comparison to our previous sessions, because he wanted to be really sure. He was very interested in how I dealt with the after holiday crash and my manic behavior, and how you know, I gave myself a timeline to turn my stuff around, and how willing I was to go back on medication if needed, and how open I was with my communication and the processes that I did, and how I managed to really like be aware of my situation and control the direction that I went in mentally. And sitting there, and I'm not, you know, I didn't fake it. You know, like I was like this when I was talking to him, you know, obviously showing a manic behavior, and obviously being very like, you know, the schizophrenic mind of connecting things and making connections and realizing that that's that and this is this, and even though my mind is telling me that it's true, I'm realizing that it's not true, and he was very impressed. He said that if I had just walked in and he didn't know my history, he would definitely be prescribing me medication. But the fact that he has 2 years of working with me, he trusts in my ability to manage myself and be aware of my situations, which leads him to question a lot about his approach to treatment of schizophrenics, which is, I think, pretty cool. So the last appointment will be in April, and then I will have no more psychiatry appointments. And then at the end of May, I will have no more psychology appointments. And then will be the real test to see how I go dealing with this scenario. So that's like a pretty big win, I would have to say. That's a pretty big step. Bravo. Bravo. Hopefully I can bring a bit more order to this scenario, and hopefully I can focus more on some helpful tools and shit of how to be like this, but in a good way. I think I'm going to leave it there. I kind of need to do. I just have to force stop. I can keep going, but just how do you end? This is like a answering machine. It's like a voice message. You never know how to end. You just have to hang up.